thought that slide might get your attention because at the end of the day, the best way to make some good choices in your life and the best way to be able to determine your own future is by having a job, fundamentally, or creating one through starting your own business. The number one thing is that employers love skills. The very thing that you are learning to do here today and in the courses that you're doing, employers love skills. Skills is a different thing to education, particularly when they're thinking about young people like you as they want skills. And those are a different kind of qualification. That's a qualification that's directly relevant to their workplace. That's a skill. That's why you're doing what you're doing here, because by building those skills, they're directly relevant to the workplace, and employers will say, gosh, these young people have made a commitment to having a job, they've made a commitment to building a skill. There's different kinds of skills, though, that employers are looking for. And I'll run through some of those kinds of skills. The first skills are workplace skills, basic skills of the type that you would expect if you yourself were running a business. And I notice that you're all largely in uniform, and hello to the guys who've just arrived this week. Hello, I gather your uniforms are underway. You'll notice I'm wearing my uniform. It's called a business suit, that you've had a decent sleep the night before, that you turn up on time or before time, that your brain's in action, that your mind's in action in order to do your job properly, that you don't have to kind of spend half an hour kind of getting right, that you turn up on time, as I say, that your dress or that your uniform is appropriate to the task at hand. If you need to wear a uniform, that you've got that uniform on. If you need to wear particular safety equipment or boots or hats or whatever you're going to wear, that's all ready to go, and that you've got that tidied up by the time you turn up. The other one is that you take some direction. In other words, what I'm talking about there is that you're able to follow instructions and that you're able to work in a team doing that. At the end of the day, one of the things that employers don't want are people who only just follow instructions. They want people who follow instructions when asked, but then can work intelligently, can work sensibly around those instructions to make sure that the right thing happens. In other words, you turn your brain on when you come to work. You don't just act like a robot, although very important that you follow instructions, of course. But when you look at all the rock star chefs or all the rock star bar people, or those people you see on the television, they started where you started. They started getting these basic skills right, and it's only by doing that that they got to be really good at what they did. So these basic skills that you're learning here are really valuable for you later in life. And unless you learn them well now, later in life you'll be held back because you won't have that basic level of skills that you need in order to build and in order to grow. But the skills that you build here today will still be relevant because they're not just about cooking or bar waiting or hospitality skills, hotel skills, finance and so on. They're basic life skills as well. They give you confidence to get to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. So value them today. They're not just kind of boring stuff you're learning, but increasingly what will create success are these types of skills, what we call soft skills. So hard skills is like being able to cook. Soft skills are things like customer service, teamwork, the capacity to challenge a decision you think is wrong, the capacity to tell the truth if you think something needs to be said, speaking up, all those sorts of things. So these are some of the soft skills that we think about in your industries when we think about those kinds of headspace skills, the things that are going on in your head, the way you act. They're soft skills. Those are skills of kindness and of customer respect and customer focus. And believe me, they're massively powerful, not just to the business for which you work, but also for your progression. The people I see get ahead are the people that use these kinds of skills. So manners and showing respect, even though customers sometimes, me included, can be difficult and tired and nasty and unthinking, that's life. Showing respect all the time matters, despite all that. Your sector, that many of the places in which you work, are really dynamic. They're changing all the time. So it's important that when you go to work, when you get your first job, or when you're thinking about where you might want to work, it's important to understand the place in which you work is also a living thing. It's got to change all the time, you know? And you know this because you put on different food here all the time. The reason for that is to keep people interested in coming back, right? So, you need to compete even here to make sure that people turn up. So your workplace is a living thing. It changes all the time, and there's no reason for it to be successful other than your efforts, okay? If you don't put in maximum effort, it may not be successful because there's lots and lots of competition, right? 20 years ago, there was no sushi. Now there's thousands of sushi. Sushi everywhere you like. You want to the service station, get some sushi. Thousands of places selling sushi, just to use that example of a new thing that's come along in the last 20 years. So there's all sorts of new products, new services, new values. So where you work is subject to all of that too. So the businesses in which you work don't just sort of exist whether you turn up to work or not. The fact that you turn up, the fact that you apply these skills, these technical skills and these soft skills really matter to the success of the enterprise and to your personal success. So the way to make sure that you get a great job and that you keep that great job and that you grow in that great job and do even better things is critically dependent on whether the business in which you work is actually successful or not. And you can directly contribute to the success of that business by utilizing those skills I've talked about. Careers are changing too. The one word I would give you, and it's a long word, but I'd use the word resilience. In other words, inner strength, personal capability or personal ability to change and feel confident about change. This is a really important thing that you're going to have to grapple with in your life and in your career, because New Zealand and the other countries that you'll work in will go through enormous change. That change is going to go faster and faster and faster rather than slower and slower. So your resilience, this inner strength that you've got, this willingness and ability to change is very, very important for you as well. It's a personal thing, not necessarily an employer thing. But the number one thing I'd leave you with is this, where I started: skills will be king. Challenge you. The final thing I want to do is challenge you. I want to say to you, once you get those skills, once you get that qualification, now it's your turn to contribute. Contribute to New Zealand's success and your home country's success by what you do. Don't be a passenger. Make sure that you get better so that you can pass on your skills, your taxes, your insight, your commitment to the country to the next generation coming through places like this.